This camera is so good that it came out in 2012 and I have never upgraded from this camera. Awesome. What is going down, you awesome, vicious, and oh so delicious camera geeks? Welcome back to the show. Man, have I got a great camera for you guys today. Now, I hesitated on doing this camera because there are a ton of reviews already on this camera. And you know, I always want to give you guys something a little different, but you know what? When you're doing this camera circuit here on YouTube, eventually we're all going to do the same cameras, okay? So, I mean, you can already see it like 5D, a D3, D700, and this camera today too. But the best we could do as YouTubers is to try to give you our perspectives on it. So I'm going to do this today, even though I know that this camera is going to get lost in the shuffle because the channel is still kind of small. But you guys can help out by liking, commenting, and subscribing. But before we do that, let me show you guys the camera today. This camera is so good that it came out in 2012 and I have never upgraded from this camera. And you guys know that I am a bit of a gearhead, but I've never upgraded from this camera because I never really felt the need to. The camera legend we have today is none other than the Sony RX100. All right. Awesome. All right. Let me just close this thing off because it's going to go off by itself. All right. So the Sony RX100 was introduced in 2012, and for its time, man, I mean, you can almost say that Sony kind of future-proofed this camera. They made this camera so good that, you know, I never felt the need to upgrade from it. Although, you know, you guys might want to, but we'll talk about that. I'm not going to go over all the specs because, as I said, there are a ton of RX100 videos already. I just want to go over the key specifications, okay? So in 2012, this camera right here, okay, they put in there a 1-inch sensor, okay? That was kind of rare back in those days for, especially for point and shoot. All right, so 1-inch sensor, you got a 28-100 zoom lens on this thing here. You got, I think, HD video, not sure, 1080p or 1080i, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll put it down in the captions as I always do. And all of the amazing features that Sony put into this tiny camera, they all add up to what I believe is the greatest strength of the RX100, and that is image quality. So the first thing that impressed me about the Sony RX100 are the rich tones and colors that gives images that extra bit of depth, and this comes from that 1-inch sensor. And these files are very pliable and you can do a lot with these files. The autofocus is fast. It may not be up to today's standards, but it was certainly fast enough for me to get all of these shots from a tiny moving boat. Tell me that's not a Thai Freddie Mercury, guys. I'm not even joking. So one of the reasons that I have not upgraded from this camera is that I still feel that this camera is eminently usable as an everyday carry, as a great travel camera, as a street camera. It's just about perfect to complement your phone. The image quality is great. It's got usable high ISOs, and you can even, like, you know, hand this camera off to somebody else and they'll take great shots with it. So I really don't see the need to upgrade this. And while I acknowledge all the improvements that Sony has made in subsequent models, I'm just not convinced that I will see a big difference as far as image quality is concerned. But I would love for you guys to tell me that I am wrong, so please let me know in the comments. Thank you. Alright, you guys, well, I've never really used this camera for any kind of serious video because it's not really a video-centric camera. It's got a fixed LCD. It doesn't have a microphone input, and so I've never looked at it as a serious video camera. It's got stabilization, but not as good as the later models. So anyway, this is everything. There's a first for everything, so I'm going to do this one for you guys because as I said, I'm going to work for it. So this is a poor man's Misty, poor man's Johnny Mathis. if you hear any kind of echoes, I have a little mic on the side which is helping me to, you know, which is giving me a little reverb. But other than that, there's no mic that's like connected to the RX100. Look at me, I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree, and I feel like I'm clinging to a cloud I can't understand. I get misty just holding your hand. But that's a poor man's Misty, poor man's Johnny Mathis. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we're gonna find out together how well this performs for video. All right, so what do you guys think of the image quality of the Sony RX100? Let me know in the comments. As I mentioned to you guys before, the comments are very helpful in supporting this channel, so I thank you guys in advance. In my opinion, the image quality of the Sony RX100 is fantastic, especially for a camera from its time. Like I said, this camera was way ahead of its time. Future-proof almost, right? But it's beginning to show its age, and we'll talk about that right now. All right. Anyway, it doesn't have a tilting screen. It doesn't have an EVF, which might bother a lot of people. But all the basics are there. I mean, you know, as I mentioned before, the 1-inch sensor, 20 megapixels, 28 to 100. Okay. Now, in the other versions that they came out with, I know there was another version, or the later versions had like a 24 to 70 with a faster lens. So that's helpful. That's helpful for, like, you know, low light, or just getting shots in available light when the light is getting dim. But, you know, I've made do with it. I mean, like, I don't see it as that much of a big deal to me. I mean, it might be to you. For me, the 28 to 100, you know, zoom is a good reach and a good compromise, because that's the kind of zoom that, you know, we used to put back in the old school cameras. Like, any of you guys remember the old Nikon 28 to 105 millimeter? Something like that, you know. Yeah, I'm a bit of a gearhead, yes, admittedly, maybe a lot of a gearhead, but everything that I get is always within reason, okay? That's the clause, within reason. Like I said, one of the main reasons why I never felt the need to upgrade it is because the heart of the camera is probably the same, the 20 megapixel sensor. Now I understand, you know, like, please forgive me, you know, if I sound like I've become like a little skeptical of the industry, but, you know, they could put in another 20 megapixel sensor and then backlight it, or, you know, BSI or whatever. But I always feel in my heart about this camera is that the image quality, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm not going to see a big difference. All right, but if you guys, again, if you guys have the other versions and you do, then let me know. But as it is, this camera produces, in my opinion, fantastic image quality, especially if you want a camera that to accompany you instead of your phone or with your phone. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As you can see, I'm trying to crank out these videos a little faster, and I still do have those mysterious film cameras coming up. But man, doing the film video is a pain in the ass, because I got to do a lot of scanning and all that stuff. But I'll get to them. I'll get to them eventually. I'm trying to grow this channel, so don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. And once again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching, for listening, for sharing. Thank you so much, and until and until next time, guys, I will catch you guys again on thecameralegend.com, and let's take a beautiful 2012. All right, see, this is one of the things I hate about doing this. I'm always messing up. All right, but let's try this again. All right, so thank you guys once again for watching, and until next time, let's take a beautiful 2012, way ahead of the future image of you guys with the legendary Sony RX100 original at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And I will catch you guys next time on thecameralegend.com YouTube channel.